现在好多
I am a high-quality woman, and that's why I don't settle for just any relationship. I've worked hard to build my life, high education, a good salary, my own house and car. Why should I lower my standards for a man who isn't on my level? I don't want someone who earns a few thousand a month and has no ambition. Men today act like they've seen the reality, but the truth is they can't handle an independent, successful woman like me. They say we're leftover women, but the truth is, I'm not settling for less than I deserve. Not just anyone can be with me, and that bothers them. And then there are men who claim rich women don't need to marry. So, marriage is only for women without money? When they have money, they spend it on themselves. When they don't, they find someone else to foot the bill. That's moral decay, and men have figured it out. But I'm not like that. I don't need a man to support me, and maybe that's why many feel threatened. If a man wants to be with me, he needs to offer more than the basics. I've already achieved everything on my own. If they prefer younger women, that's fine. I won't lower my standards to fit their expectations. I know my worth. And if that means staying single until I find someone who truly deserves me, so be it.
不，中国女
It may not seem like it, but I turned 30 this year. I have a degree in business administration. I own my own place. A 2-bedroom apartment in the city center with a view of the river, not those shabby buildings full of leaks that most people settle for. My car? An imported SUV paid off, carefully chosen because I don't drive any old junk. I work for a multinational, I make more than the average man I cross paths with, and I even invest my money in stocks. Yes, I know what I'm doing, unlike these guys who can barely understand a spreadsheet. I'm not just anyone, I never was, and I'm not going to lower myself just because society thinks a 30-year-old woman should be chasing a husband as if it's some sort of consolation prize. I'm the prize, and anyone who wants to win me over will have to prove they deserve it. Look at the options that come my way, just to give you an idea of the absurdity. There was one guy, 34, a university professor. He seemed interesting at first, but then he took me to a special dinner at a corner restaurant with plastic chairs and paper napkins. Seriously, did he think I'd be impressed by a 50 yuan dish and warm beer? Another guy, a sales manager, came with talk of a future together, but lived in a tiny rented place and wore worn-out shoes. I'm not here to support a man, thanks, I've got my own bills paid. And the worst was that 36-year-old lawyer my aunt insisted on introducing me to. He had a belly that barely fit into his shirt and even told me I should be more humble. Humble for what? Because I didn't laugh at his stupid jokes? I wasn't born to flatter boring men. I've heard it all. You're too demanding, you're getting old, all the good men are married. Let them laugh all they want, I don't care. Those desperate women who take the first man they meet just to get a ring on their finger? Poor things. They marry anyone, become slaves to guys who can't even wash their own dishes, while I'm here, sipping my imported coffee on my porcelain-tiled balcony. I've turned down 8 marriage proposals so far, and I don't regret any of them. There was one who even had money, owned an electronics store, but he was rude, uneducated, and thought yelling at a waiter was a sign of power. Another, a doctor, seemed perfect on paper, but he was short and had no charisma. I'm not going to spend my life looking down, literally and figuratively. I set the standard, I set the level, and I won't accept anything less just to please others. And these men today, you know? Whining that they've woken up, that they don't want women like me anymore. Great, let them go after the silly little girls who say yes to everything and think a bouquet of cheap flowers is the height of romance. I don't need them, and they certainly don't deserve me. I have my life all set up. My closet full of designer bags. I bought a Gucci on the last holiday, my annual trips, Paris last year, Dubai this year, and maybe Milan next. My friends envy me, my family admires me, and I'm not giving that up for a guy who thinks a 10,000 a month salary is a big deal. The big deal is me, the one who built all of this on her own. And there's more, I know I'm beautiful even at 30. My hair is silky, I get highlights at the most expensive salon in the city. My skin is flawless because I invest in treatments that these guys can't even pronounce. My gym is 5 stars, and my personal trainer keeps me in shape with a body that many 20-year-olds envy. So why, with all this perfection, would I settle for a man who doesn't have even a third of what I've achieved? They call me arrogant, but I call it clarity. I want a man who is more than I am. A villa by the beach, a 7-digit bank account, a last name that opens doors anywhere in the world. If it's not like that, he can go find another fool to carry on his back, because I'm not here to support someone else's dreams. They say time's passing that I should hurry up. Hurry up for what? To become the unhappy wife of a loser who drags me into a mediocre life? No thanks. I see these married women tired, complaining about their lazy husbands while I go out for dinner with friends at restaurants they only know from pictures. The clock may be ticking, but my standards aren't dropping. I'm an expensive wine, only getting better with time, and anyone who can't pay the price can stick with cheap drinks. I'd rather be the most fabulous and powerful single woman in the city than the shadow of a man who doesn't even come close to my level. If you can't handle my shine, close your eyes. I didn't come into this world to dim my light for anyone, especially not some guy who thinks he deserves me just because he has a suit and a crooked smile.
我今天去相亲了，
Today, I went to a matchmaking meeting arranged by a woman from my father's hometown. At first, she praised the man to the skies as if I were blind for not accepting him. I've always believed that marriage should be a union where 1 + 1 is greater than 2, but now I realize that even being equal to 2 is difficult. The guy, born in 1988, is a former military man, currently without a job, living at home. He bought an apartment in Jinan and pays a $6,500 per month mortgage. He spoke arrogantly, saying he would definitely be assigned to a government position and that making $5,000 a month would be easy. During dinner, he kept talking about how great he was in the army, as if there was nothing in the world he couldn't handle. Honestly, I have no words for this kind of ordinary man. The pressure to marry has been so intense these last few years. For our elders, if a man has a house, car, and a job, he's the ideal match. They believe that having these 3 things makes him a high-quality man. However, our parents never consider what we actually want in a partner, so they think we have unreasonable standards. They don't understand that if we don't like one, we want to find someone better. They even try to convince us to lower our expectations. My parents convinced me to try a normal man and lower my standards, but I will never give a chance to this kind of man again. I'd rather stay single for the rest of my life than submit to that. I understand my parents' good intentions. They want us to be happy and have someone by our side. But they don't understand that times have changed. The traditional idea of marriage, getting married, having children, taking care of the family, just doesn't make sense for us anymore. I hate that kind of marriage, but I feel helpless because I can't change their views. Even though I have debts, I currently make at least $30,000 a month. Yet my friends and family still try to convince me to marry men who make $5,000 to $6,000 a month, and they even think this ex-soldier is reliable. Since my father was also a soldier, our family has this belief that soldiers are honest, down to earth, and have good character. To be honest, I hate when people say he's an honest man, and that I shouldn't be so picky. To me, calling someone honest is just a way of saying they have no other redeeming qualities. His honesty comes from the fact that he has no better options. And when these men get the chance, they might end up being more irresponsible than anyone else. It's absurd that honesty has become a positive trait in the matchmaking world. If it weren't for this arranged meeting, I wouldn't even be interested in being friends with him. He's rude, has no hobbies, narrow-minded, disheveled, arrogant, and still expects the woman to make money, take care of the house and his parents, and have children while refusing to pay for a nanny because he thinks the nanny's salary is higher than his own. He has very poor problem-solving and emotional management skills. During dinner, the waiter accidentally knocked over his water glass, but it didn't spill on him. Even so, he kept demanding an apology and even asked the restaurant to waive the bill. I really wanted to turn around and walk out at that moment. What's even more amazing is that he didn't pay for the bill and just walked out of the restaurant. I understand that a person's income doesn't define everything, but it does reflect a lot about them, such as their communication skills, emotional intelligence, ambition, and way of thinking. That's why I've always set a minimum income standard for my partner. They can't earn less than I do. I don't want to be the one to support the family, take on the risks of having children, or bear the financial risks of the future. Then people start criticizing me, saying I'm materialistic, that I'm a gold digger. But I'm financially independent, I can earn my own money, and I want a real partner. I want someone with whom I can walk side by side with ideas, emotions, and a future in common. Isn't that a reasonable standard for choosing a partner?
真的搞不懂为
I really don't understand why some people think that older single women have such a miserable life. First of all, I really don't get why they think older single women are too picky. Oh my God, let me tell you two examples. My friend is very beautiful, and she has men chasing her, but she completely ignores them. She's not a lesbian. She's just asexual, doesn't want to date, thinks it's annoying, and doesn't even put herself in the marriage market. The second case is me. I can't say I'm completely single by choice, but the reason I can't get married is probably because of my looks and my finances, which are definitely not enough to get into the marriage market. Okay, no one looks at me. I've tried pursuing some guys, but ended up just becoming a joke in their circles. I mean, it's obvious that I was the one left behind, and still, they call me picky. What logic is that? Now, let's say I get lucky and meet someone with similar conditions to mine, and we get along. If we get married, with my looks and lack of money, I'm sure I'll end up with someone just as ugly and poor. Poor, fine, I can accept that. Actually, simple food can be quite tasty. But see, I wake up in the morning, look in the mirror, and already feel desperate about my appearance. When I turn my head, I see someone lying in bed who's a total disaster no one understands, right? If it was just the two of us getting by, it would be fine. But having kids is the end, because I'm poor, and I really don't want my child to grow up in this scenario. Raising kids is so expensive nowadays. I remember when I was little, extracurricular classes at the youth center cost 420 yuan for several lessons, and in elementary school, I could do 8 or 9 activities. Now, with the crackdown on training courses, the only option is private lessons, and if I had kids, I'd have to juggle a 25,000 yuan income, while those without kids live on 8,000 yuan. The living standard is the same, and marriage doesn't improve that. After marriage, life doesn't improve. You stay poor.
Poor is poor, right?
2 poor people getting married can still live with rent. But when you have kids, you need to leave them some assets. But with mortgage, car loans, and a complicated life, there's no happiness. If a man fell in love with me, and we truly connected, I would accept it. No dowry, renting a house, splitting expenses, but of course, with the condition that both of us get a vasectomy. I'm not afraid of marriage or having children. My fear is that my child will follow my path, while other kids have beauty and inherit the family business. My kid will inherit a future full of struggles, and no matter how much they pressure me, I don't want him to go through that.
I just want to preserve myself.
I don't want to hurt another poor, ugly man like me, and I certainly don't want to harm my unborn child. To be clear, I'm very responsible. I'd rather sacrifice my life than make my child pay for my failed life. Which is better, a high-quality marriage or high-quality single life? It depends on the person, but a low-quality single life is always better than a low-quality marriage, because a low-quality marriage is basically self-sabotage.
Older single women are also priced like cabbage, and most of them are not worth considering. Either they have mental issues, psychological problems, or health problems. Otherwise, they wouldn't have become expired goods. They simply don't have a marriage certificate, but that doesn't mean they haven't had abortions. We don't know how many men they've lived with. Their bodies are basically falling apart, and they're no longer of much use. It's like the water's been cut off, the power's been turned off, and they still think they have a good body. It seems like they try to find an honest and naive man to be their sucker, marrying a rotten fruit but still expecting to sell it at a durian price, right? They think the dowry should be hundreds of thousands with a car and house. In reality, most of them, after marriage, don't even have the ability to have children, and their private lives are a complete mess with very low loyalty. For us men, these women are a disaster. Brothers, be careful with your wallet. Check the goods before paying. Make sure she can have children and that they are really yours before spending any money.
So, that's what we saw today. Testimonials from older women, confident, overflowing with self-assurance, who have built their lives with their own hands, homes with glassed-in balconies and designer furniture, expensive cars parked in private garages, solid careers that put them in meeting rooms where most men only dream of stepping foot. They are not just anyone, and they make a point of rubbing it in the world's face. One of them, in her early 30s, said without hesitation, "I won't settle for anything less than a man with a villa and a prestigious surname. Another, nearing 40, laughed as she told how she dismissed an engineer because he didn't have enough class to match her designer closet. They want the full package: rich, handsome, tall, charming, a walking trophy to elevate them even more, as if they were princesses waiting for the fairy tale king to crown their perfect lives. And let's be honest, you can understand their pride. These are women who fought, who rose alone, who see themselves as rare prizes in a world full of fake jewels. Who wouldn't feel that way after building a personal empire from scratch? But here comes the criticism, and it's simple and sharp as a knife. They won't get what they want. It's not just because they're too arrogant or because time has passed and left marks that no filter can hide. No, the problem is more basic, almost cruel in its logic. The supply and demand math simply doesn't add up. These women are aiming for the top of the pyramid, but they forget that the top doesn't look at them the way they imagine. They think their luxury apartments, 5-figure salaries, and imported bags put them on the same level as the men they desire. But the love game isn't a resumed negotiation, and reality hits hard when they realize this. These men they dream of, the rich, the handsome, the high-class ones, with gold watches and cars worth more than the GDP of a neighborhood, aren't after a woman who only has money or status. For them, the money in a woman's hands, however impressive, is not what shines in the dark. These guys swim in a sea of options, and what they usually fish for is youth, stunning beauty, or even an innocent simplicity that these women reject with disdain while listing their achievements. It's not that they don't have value, they do, a lot, in the business world, in the life they've built. But in the love market, what they offer, apartments, cars, degrees, a fat bank account, becomes almost an irrelevant detail when the game is raw attraction and primal power. They see themselves as equals to these men, but forget that desire doesn't read financial statements. Money and achievements can buy a private jet, but they don't guarantee the heart of a 6-foot-tall millionaire with perfect hair and a smile that melts crowds. And there's more. These women live in a paradox they created themselves. While despising the average guy, the bank manager with a basic sedan, the teacher in a decent suit but no glamour, they don't realize that the men of their dreams are also discarding them. One of them said in her testimonial, "I don't look at anyone who earns less than me. Fine. But the billionaire she wants also won't look at anyone over 35 or who doesn't fit into a model-sized dress." It's a cruel cycle, but it's real. They build a pedestal so high that now they can't get down, and the men they want are busy climbing other peaks with other partners. And my final opinion, honestly, I don't care. I don't see anything wrong with them having high demands. Everyone dreams as they want. Everyone sets their standards where they think they deserve. And who am I to judge the size of their ambition? If they want to wait for their dream prince, with a mansion in Shanghai and a private jet, let them wait. They can keep strutting around in high heels and leather wallets, rejecting anyone who doesn't show up with a black card in hand. But that doesn't change the fact the men they want are not looking at them, not in the way they fantasize. It's not a tragedy. It's not a divine punishment. It's just how things work in this crooked world. They can keep shining alone, reigning in their fancy homes, driving through the streets with the wind in their well-maintained hair. And who knows, maybe they're even happy that way, on the throne of their own independence. But thinking they're going to catch the perfect man just because they have money, attitude, and a list of demands. That, my friends, is a fairy tale that won't have a happy ending. No epilogue, no nothing. And me, well, I just came here to tell the story, bring the facts, and turn on the light. What they do with it, or with the loneliness that comes with it, is their problem, not mine. What's your point of view on this dilemma? Leave a comment and share your thoughts. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe for more videos like this. I'll see you in the next video.